Let's bring him in. Dr. Joe Congini, Sports Medicine Center at Akron Children's Hospital. Good morning, Dr. Joe.
Hey, Ray. How you doing today?
I'm doing terrific. How can we not with the type of weather we've been having?
Oh, my gosh, is it beautiful. And I'll tell you one other thing that is right here in Akron, Ohio, while you're at it, is for people that love high school sports and stuff, in the next couple of weeks, as the Ohio High School Athletic Association has kind of gone out into communities to have their state championship tournaments, the boys will be here playing baseball at Canal Park for several days for the state championships at all the divisions, and the girls will be at Firestone Stadium again. They have those contracts locked up for a couple of years of having those tournaments here. So check for some dates and get down there and watch some high school ball, and it's fun. And that's really what I wanted to talk about today, Ray. It takes me by surprise a little bit, even at this stage of my career I'm at, being around a long time. I had several patients coming in my office in the last week or two saying, oh, my gosh, I have to get this injury treated. I have to get ready for football practice. And it takes me aback just a little bit. And it had gotten by me, even with being on the committee and being there for the discussions. The last year kind of put our toe in the water with football, and there were practices allowed, spring practices in Ohio, and now there have been some changes. So we called down to the OHSAA, our good friend Bo Rugg and Emily Mason. Emily looks after baseball, and she'll be in town soon. They kind of updated me. There were a fair bit of changes, and I just wanted to let people know about what some of these changes are about spring practice for fall and winter sports. And so they did what we call widen the window a little bit of when these practices could occur, and they increased the number of practices. So the thought behind it is the coaching staffs can work with their teams on skill building and team building and technique and things like that. And so they increased this window from 10 in the first year where they tried it, a little toe in the water with football, to 13 days. But those 13 days can be any time from May 15th to July 31st. So whenever it fits for the coaching staff to do it, they could split it up a little in May, a little in June, a little in July. They can have 13 official practices with the team. That is for football. For football, just helmets only. There's no live games or scrimmages. Other states we hear, I have friends in other states, where they do actually have a few scrimmages allowed in the spring for high school football. But in our state, that's where we're at right now, to try to get our kids to be able to be doing some skill building and catch up. Camps and 7-on-7s, they call them, which is passing scrimmages, are allowed. One thing that I want to make very clear that we were on the state committee is there's no change and there's no wiggle room with the acclimatization to the heat period. That is July 17th through July 30th, and that's written in stone. You have to do your acclimatization over that period. Some people say, well, I'm going to do the acclimatization to heat in June or something. That doesn't do any good. It needs to be directly before we start with practice, which is going to be July 31st this year for football. So changes in basketball, too, Ray. They increased the window from just really the month of June to, again, also May 15th through July 30th. Basketball teams can be together with their coaches 13 days, 13 practices, and they can play games. They do have a dead period for winter sports in the month of August 1st through 30th. They can't do any practicing. But a lot of basketball going on in May, June, and July. And the other sports are definitely not being left behind. There is definitely involvement in soccer, boys and girls, volleyball, and field hockey all have the chance to play with their teams and their coaches and do some team building and technique building. So what's the 4 take-home points for me looking at this, as I've been around for a long time, this bit of a change? So here, number one, Ohio athletes maybe have a little bit more of a chance to catch up to other states that have been doing spring practice for a while, particularly in football. In states like Texas and Florida, they have 15 to 20 practices in the spring, and they do have some scrimmages from what I hear. Number two, acclimatization period is mandatory. We've got to make sure our athletes get ready for the heat. So that doesn't change, and nobody has to worry that we're going to allow that with the medical committee. Number 3 is one thing I've been hearing from spring coaches. These are some of the drawbacks. Is they're kind of concerned. They feel they could be hurt and lose athletes with some of these spring practices for winter and fall sports. So we'll have to keep an eye on if that happens, if the numbers drop there. That's certainly not what the Ohio High School Athletic Association wants, but spring coaches are worried about that. And number 4 is this was an ideal 2-month period for rehabbing injuries for us in sports medicine. So we got to make sure that these people still stay on getting those injuries taken care of and treated during this period, even if practices are going on for fall and winter sports. So those are my 4 take-home points. Those are some of the changes that have taken place at the Ohio High School Athletic Association, Ray.
And those are big changes, too, compared to a decade ago as far as gathering and working out with the individuals, aren't they, Joe?
Yeah, they sure are. I mean, there used to be all this talk about clandestine practices. You know, behind the scenes, coaches would be getting together with their players at different. Now, no more of that. No, this is in the open. You will drive by fields in the next few weeks and see football players practicing and basketball players in gyms practicing and stuff. It is a big change, Ray. I think there's a lot of good to it. We have to just watch it real carefully and make sure that we don't allow for some of the negative parts that could be a part of it as well.
Joe, you know, you mentioned the OHSAA coming in for the softball and baseball championships. Next weekend will be softball. The weekend after that will be baseball, and I'll be part of the OHSAA radio network broadcasting the final games down at Canal Park. So looking forward to that.
Oh my gosh, I'll have to stop over and see you, and
yes.
I'll have to try to catch up with you, and I will also try to introduce you to Emily Mason. She runs for the OHSAA, that department. She's running all over Canal Park on that week, so I'll have her say hello
Please.
to the famous voice of Akron, Ray Horner.
Thanks, Joe. Hey, happy birthday, my friend.
Oh, thank you. I don't know, these years just continue to roll on, but still having a lot of fun, Ray.
I imagine with that big family you have, a lot of happy birthdays came your way.
Yeah, they bring me a lot of joy. Thanks, Ray.
I know, you're a great one. Joe, thanks for the time, my friend. I'll talk to you real soon.
Okay, take care.
All right, Dr. Joe Congini, Sports Medicine Center, Akron Children's Hospital, joining us this morning.